Welcome back to the Clean My Space channel. My name is Melissa Mager and I am an accidental cleaning expert, which means I hate cleaning, but I like helping people, including myself, find the most efficient and effective ways to get the job done right the first time. And that brings me to the topic of pumice stones, because these are quite popular in the cleaning world and they are all over the social media. And people swear by them, they say they solve all the cleaning problems, but do they? And are they the best choice? Let's deep dive into pumice stones today and find out if indeed these are the right cleaning tools that you should be using, and if so, on what surfaces. So, what is pumice? Well, the OG pumice, the real stuff, is a form of rock created by cooled lava that came out of a volcano. The bubbles are actually air that got trapped during this process. Imagine if you were to shake up a can of soda and then it just froze, like the temperature changed drastically and it froze in time. That's pumice, that's what it is. Now both of these products are an artificial pumice, and it is made from recycled glass that is then ground up, added to a non-toxic foaming agent, so you get kind of the same result, but without having to trek all the way to a dangerous volcano. Frankly, I wouldn't want to be a pumice stone hunter. Whatever product you get your hand on, it's going to be able to essentially do the same thing. And while a lot of us use pumice for the bottoms of our feet, they do supposedly have uses around the home. So I want to get into what these uses are and whether or not they actually make sense for cleaning. The way that you clean with pumice is always the same. You're going to wet your stone very thoroughly. You want to soak it for a few minutes before you use it in water. And you can then apply the pumice stone to the surface the same way that you would use a sponge, or think about like an eraser at school after you really messed up a math problem. Now, you don't want to press too hard because this is an abrasive tool and you don't want to scratch, but the idea is that you kind of want to gently graze the surface. You're going to work in kind of a circular motion and you're going to stay very focused on the mess at hand. So the technique is always the same across a variety of different surfaces, finishes, and fixtures that you're going to be using it on. What really matters is testing it first and understanding pumice's limitations. I would classify a pumice stone as a heavy-duty cleaning tool. So I would use it on areas that can tolerate such a thing, like for example, barbecue grills, the top of your oven, the grates there, not a glass cooktop, but the top of your oven in terms of the grates, the inside of a non-self-cleaning oven, and Pyrex dishes. It can also work on certain pieces of cookware, but you always have to test in an inconspicuous area first. So why do people go absolutely bonkers for pumice? It's because it works. It works really well. It's an abrasive. So if you watch other Clean My Space videos, you know that I love baking soda, partially because it's an abrasive product, but it is much less abrasive than a pumice stone. So where baking soda can't do the job, pumice can. Of course, there's a flip side to that, which is you have to be careful where you use it and mindful of the surfaces that you choose to use it on. But when it works, it works. Now at this juncture, you might be saying to yourself or to me on the screen, hey Melissa, I've seen so many people use this online to clean their running shoes, their toilet, their sink, their glass shower, their tiles. Why aren't you talking about that? Well, my friends, that's because I like to play it safe. I don't like to see things ruined. And like I always do, I do tons of research and I like to advise you on how to be safe and how to be efficient and effective. And just because something works on a certain surface doesn't mean that it is the best choice. So when I see people cleaning glass shower doors or tiles or their toilets or porcelain sinks with these things, it's great that it's working, but it's not necessarily the best choice, especially if you check with the experts in those particular fields. In fact, they might even advise against you using a pumice stone because it can ruin the surface. So always take what you see and read online with a grain of salt or stone. I'm not trying to scare you here. I just want you to be aware of what could potentially happen if you use pumice in the wrong space. And what it is micro scratching. So let's say you have a toilet and you're like, it's got hard water stains and rust in a toilet ring, and I really need to solve the problem. If you don't care about this toilet, if you're like, whatever, the toilet's the toilet and it's not like a $3,000 toilet that can do your taxes as well, and you're not planning on replacing that toilet, okay, you can use a pumice stone, but be aware that it will cause micro scratches, which are scratches that you actually can't see. But over time, these microscopic scratches can start to hold on to dirt, therefore making the surface look dirtier. And it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. The only way that those surfaces will be able to get clean in the future is if you use a pumice stone. So will they get clean? But you'll just have to be aware that they'll be scratched, and you'll have to use this going forward. So if you've decided that you're going to use pumice, that's great. Here are a few things that you need to know. We've already talked about testing it in an inconspicuous area first, keeping it wet, and only using it on surfaces that are deemed safe. You also want to keep in mind that because the stone is by nature porous, you will never be able to disinfect it. So if you have a toilet pumice, it stays the toilet pumice. You also want to make sure that when you're done using the pumice stone that you wipe and dry the surface well. That's because this pumice, it leaves like a fine kind of grit behind afterward, and you might see that or feel that texture. And while it might become totally addictive because you're going to get great results, try not to use pumice all the time. It really should be kind of one of the last resort cleaning tools, in my opinion. So now you know what you need to know about pumice stones. And to be clear, I'm not a pumice naysayer, I'm just a pumice right sizer. And that brings me to this week's comment question, which is, are you a pumice fan? Have you never used it before? Are you intrigued? Are you terrified? Let me know in the comments down below. For me, I think pumice in my home works the best on barbecue grates, inside non-self-cleaning ovens. I've tested it there before, and it really is good for toilets. But I use pumice the most for the bottom of my feet. I have a separate stone in my shower just for that. But let me know your uses in the comments down below. If you are a cleaning tool aficionado, you might love this video, so go ahead and check it out. A couple of ways that you can support the Clean My Space channel. Of course, you can do so by subscribing. And you can also visit makersclean.com, which is where we sell all of our premium microfiber cleaning tools and much more. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.